Warm up for the distance formula. The way I teach distance formula, the way I teach how to find distance between 2 points is I like to use the Pythagorean theorem, which the distance formula is derived from the Pythagorean theorem. So it's nothing too crazy. I just like to teach the concept rather than here's the formula, blindly plug it in there and find an answer. Okay. So the concept is we use the distance horizontally and the distance vertically to find that distance diagonally. That distance diagonally will be the distance between 2 points. So like if that's 1, 4, negative 5, 6 would be like over there somewhere. Right, if that's 1, 4, negative 5, 6 would be over there somewhere. And when you're trying to find the distance or the length of that diagonal line, it's kind of hard to count the units, right? It's impossible. It's not going to be, a nice, neat, integer type answer most of the time. Sometimes it might be, but most of the time it's not. So again, the way I do it, first off, when you see these, I like to stack them. So 1, 4, I'm going to write, just to get into the habit, right below it, I'm going to write negative 5, 6. I like to stack them. I like to line up my x's, line up my y's. My x's, that will account for my horizontal distance. So the question is, how far apart are the 1 and the negative 5? You tell me. How far apart? What's the distance between 1 and negative 5? 6, yeah. So that is my horizontal distance. How far apart is 4 and 6? 2. That is my vertical distance. We're going to use those along with the Pythagorean theorem to find c squared, what would be the hypotenuse. That would be the diagonal. So this is 2, that is 6, and we're trying to find c, that diagonal. So we square it. 6 squared is 36. 2 squared is 4. Set up the equation here. 36 and 4 give me 40. And then to get c, I have to square root both sides. So square root to c squared, square root the 40. A lot of people will stop here, not a lot, but some people, it's a common mistake, they'll stop here and say c equals 40. Well, that doesn't make a ton of sense. Like if that's 2 and that's 6, that is not going to be 40. But you square root it, you find the square root of 40. So on your calculator, maybe you're using your phone, make sure you can find that square root button. All right, on an iPhone, you got to turn it sideways, right, to find that square root button. But it's there, right above the sine function, S-I-N, looks like sin. It's a little 2 with a check mark and an X. So what you do, you type 40 first, then you hit that symbol. And what I got, hopefully you're getting the same thing, you can double check, is 6.32. We're going to stop at the second decimal place, the 100th place. So use that third decimal to round that second decimal. So C will be 6.32. And that is the distance between those 2 points. Make sense? Again, we can plug that into a distance formula. We would get the same thing. You would be doing the same math. Distance formula comes from the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, but if I can use Pythagorean theorem, I can use something that's a little more familiar to you. Why don't you guys try number 2 on your own? Let's just see where we're at. When I stack these, line up my x's, line up my y's, you'll notice that the vertical distance, my y distance is just going to be 0. So distance between negative 2 and negative 2 and 0 would just be 2. All right, so that's going to be 2 squared. Distance between 5 and 5 is 0, 0 squared, and that's going to equal the diagonal squared, which is what we want, c squared. 0 makes things disappear. It's magical. I'm going to get 2 squared equals c squared. If that number was big, like we had one yesterday where it was 18 squared, there's no reason to square 18 and then square root it. If you square 18 and then square root it, guess what you get? 18. Yeah, you're just undoing what you just did. So if you square it, you get like 324. And then you square root it, you just undid the square, so you're going to go back to 18. So in this case, there's no need to square the 2 and then square root it. C is just going to equal, you tell me, 2. So that's my distance. Distance between negative 2, 5 and 0, 5 would be 2 units. All right, try number 3, see where you're at. I'll walk around here, just double check. All right, I'll walk you guys through this here. You guys who are at home, everyone here in class has it, so that was good to see. I just told them that the assignment for today is a mixed bag of midpoint and distance, so you guys will have to keep those straight. Just read the directions. Anyway, so distance between 7 and negative 3. Remember, it's a subtraction idea. Okay, distance is a subtraction and then the absolute value of that. So 7 minus a negative 3 would be 10. 8 minus 2 would be 6. And we've got to square them. That's what the Pythagorean theorem tells us to do. 10 squared is 100. 6 squared is 36. When I add them together, I end up with 136. And I'll need to square root them to find what C is. What'd you guys get, 11 point something?
Yeah.
11.66. What was the third number, just to make sure we rounded right?
1.
Okay, 11.66 sounds right. And again, that's an approximation. I shouldn't put an equal sign. All right, there's your warm-up. And our assignment then is going to be the 1-7 worksheet. It's on Canvas, and I just emailed it out. Do them all, please.